This one. Otherwise, you can't hear. I put it close. You know, things of doing online trainings. You know, yeah, hear better. Great. Hey,
お願いします。
お願いします。よっ。はい。もう、down. Hey, side to side. Hey, you to shoulders. Circles and weight. Circles the other way. Hey, arms. And back. Side. And the other side. First one side. And the other side. Open and close. Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, back the other side. And both sides. G. Good side. Well, down. 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 Up. High waist. Action. So the other side. The other side. Side. And the other side. Right side. Down. You. Ko. Ki. Ko. San ki. Ko. What's up? Forward. Down. Hey, knees front to back. And circles one way. Circles the other way. Please. Down, down, down. Your toes. Down. Ki, ko, ki, ko, and ki, ko. Breathe up. And your hips. Turning your legs one direction and the other direction. So. So this week, this and last week, we've been working a lot as part of the Yonage, sometimes on the exercises of the Ukemi that helps us to receive when somebody sweeps our leg, for example, which happens more or less sometimes when we practice with Yonage and we use the Yo sweep someone else's leg. So there's a set of exercises that we did last week, in the last week Friday video, we've been doing the whole week. But one important thing is to just be able to comfortably raise your leg. That will obviously want to test a little bit the condition and the health of your hip joint, because obviously if you have a problem with your hip joint, you will not like to be raised enough. You will have to. It will also test a little bit the condition of your hamstring. Because if the leg goes up too suddenly, the hamstring can also be pulled. So for that case, just remember, start with gentle rotations of your raising of your knee, just to start to work out. If you keep the rotations or any elevation of your leg only at the knee level, you are not putting pressure on the hamstring. You are more working on the hip joint. Okay, so this time raising your knee again. It's kind of you're working on the hip joint level. So, now, when you extend your leg, you start to create some pressure on the hamstring. We haven't really done much hamstring warm up yet, so just very gentle, but it's hip joint and hamstring. And then the last one is the same thing, but with making a circle with the leg. We're going to test the hamstring and the hip joint a little bit more. Continuing with the hips, going down. Pushing your hands out. Putting your hands in. Hands out. Hands in. Turning to one side and stretching. So turn to the other side and stretch. Raising your hips. Raise your spine. And circles. A little bit more for your hamstrings as your leg stretches, so side to side. Lowering one side and the other side. Thumbs up on one side. Change. Hands up. Hands in front, one side. Change. Again, hands in front. Use your hands, put your knee down, and sit. Oh, side, on the front. Down, knee down, sit. Oh, opening your legs, elbows down, forward, back stretch. Forward again, hips up, down, hips up, down, hips up, down, and back. Hey, one side, one side, one side, one side, one side, and the other side. Hey, breathing in, ko, ki, ko, san, ki, ko, 体を、よし。そう。さい。うん。うん。そう。Eight. Inside. Outside. Ish. Eight. Hey, thank you. So if you grab your jaw or any medium-sized stick, grab on both sides. Remember this week, last week we've been doing a lot of work in the dojo with jaw nage and also with jaw nage has been last week. And then we have to continue it this week. Although this week we integrated some jaw dori, some jaw disarming. But it just with like everything else with weapons, especially with the jaw that has those three characteristics, we've been working on accuracy on the strikes, be able to accurately, produce the strikes that present the jaw to my partner, and then how to use the jaw in order to project, jaw nage, and then how to disarm the jaw when my partner is using it, which is jaw dori. One thing that became apparent during the training is that jaw is, because it's a beautiful tool that is quite versatile because it doesn't have a front or a back or a top or a bottom or a bladed side or a non-bladed side, like for example the bokken or the tanto have. Literally, you can grab it from any side in any position, which is beautiful, but seems to also be a little bit confusing sometimes for training because obviously the jaw, it has very limited ways in which you actually grab the jaw because there are certain parts that you cannot manipulate. Sorry, the bokken the bokken is a bit more prescriptive, because there are certain parts that you cannot manipulate, like the blade, but the jaw, you can use it with both hands down, one hand down, one up, or it has one side, has the other side, etc., etc. So this week we've been trying to fix a little bit that, I feel a little bit comfortable using, the two basic placements of the hands, one hand, one down and one up versus two hands down, and also being able to recognize one side and the other side of the jaw. But let's start just first by just warming up with your jaw here. So depending on your space you have with your in your room, okay. Remember, it's important to try to always use as many joints as possible. So that means when you do this swing with your jaw, try, if possible, to use your shoulder joint. If there is very tiny space, you may use only the elbow joint, okay? But don't get too comfortable with using only the elbow joint. It's very important to use the shoulder joint. So depending how much space and what's the condition of your place, just use as many joints as possible. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And depending on how much side you have, space you have in front of you. Normally we did 3 levels of this circle thing, but at the moment let's just do 1 for the sake of space, just in front of you, just moving with your jaw. Little bit of preparatory actions. Change to the side. Change again. Feel your jaw, just be familiar with it, with its motion, and so on. So change. Both sides of the jaw, one side, the other side, the other side. I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down. Change. Both sides of the jaw, both positions of the hands. To be quite comfortable and familiar with that. Okay, so one thing that we started working with was the idea of basic striking at 3 levels. It was coming from 3 levels. It was really 2 levels, but coming from 3 levels. So using the standard grip, which was 2 hands down, we were coming from above my partner's head, down from below into my partner's head, and in the middle into my partner's stomach. So yesterday, in reviewing a little bit how to use the jaw, it also becomes apparent that even if it's for a fraction of a second, it's important to be familiar with the stances that sometimes we use with a weapon. So, for example, kamae, which will be like haso kamae, or when the jaw is behind you, sometimes it's called waki kamae. So if you are in haso kamae, for example, and from that position you strike to the head, and then you move down to waki kamae, and from that position you strike to the head, and then you are in chudan kamae, which is the medium position, and from that position you strike into the center. So every transition, of actions, kind of briefly, sometimes longer, but sometimes even not briefly, passes from one of our basic kamaes. Just remembering our basic kamaes being jodan kamae, for example, when your jaw is completely up. Chudan kamae when it's in the middle, ready to go. Haso kamae, which is on the side of our head, almost vertical. Waki kamae, which is when it's hidden behind your leg. But even those 4 basic positions or stances that sometimes happen with the weapon, it's important to be familiar with, because even in the transitions of strike to strike, even if it's briefly, sometimes they can be perceived a little bit easier. So in this case, again, if you, for example, begin from haso kamae and striking the head from that part, down from waki kamae, striking the head from that part, back in the middle, chudan kamae, and the middle. And then you change the other side, haso kamae, the head from that side, waki kamae, Okay, from that side, Judan Kamai, and the middle. So now, depending how flowy, how dynamic the training is, you may not spend much time or any time in the Kamai position. You will just go from one strike to another strike to another strike. But it's important to know that in between those strikes, you will pass, for whatever length of period of time from one of the basic Kamais. And it's good to be familiar with the Kamais. So when everything starts to be a little bit too much, you just use the Kamai as a resting spot in order to prepare the strike properly. Otherwise, everything just looks like and so like looks like all disorganized, So there's still a little in the same way that we have a good hand position, and a clear, good, established hand position is important for practice. Sometimes with weapon work, to have a good Kamai position with the weapon is important to kind of keep the practice organized. Otherwise, it just goes all over. Okay. So one more time, upper Kamai, upper level head, Waza Kamai, lower level head, Chudan Kamai, medium level, and the other side, Haso, upper level head, Waza Kamai, lower level head, Chudan, medium. And to the other side, and upper Kamai, upper level head, Waza Kamai, lower level head, Chudan Kamai, one more, opposite side, so head, walking, head, to the stomach. Now let's see if we can do a little bit more continuous set of actions, those three, knowing that there is a Kamai always in between, but maybe not spending that much time in the Kamai, just going one strike, another strike, another strike. So we're going to go head, stomach, head, stomach, head, stomach, head, stomach. All right. So now we should be able to change in basic form to change in two directions. Okay. So we should be able to go head, stomach, head, stomach, or stomach. Okay. So good. Let's do stomach both sides. So we change both sides. Okay. So again, slow it down into Kaso Kamai, and we're going to go head. Putting it down into Waza Kamai, going to the head. Continue on that side, stomach. Pivot the other side, stop. Up the other side, Kamai, head. Down into Waki to the other side, head. Down, stomach. Pivot, stomach. Up, head. Pivot, head. Enter, stomach. Pivot, stomach. Up, head, down, head, pivot, stomach, pivot, stomach. Okay, so as you can see many times from a basic strike, for example, the head coming down into Waza Kamai, either by pivoting, or by sending it down on your own side, is quite a natural or comfortable way of going from one side to the other side. Okay. So we started with that basic set of sequence there, and then from there, projections moved in. So let's just move now into a basic set of projections. So the head is coming here, it comes down, raising up, and entering through your body, down into Waza Kamai, the head, down, and entering to the body, and in the middle, enter, absorb, and enter. All right, so that was the basic set of projections with these three actions, okay? One important thing to notice too, and to try to notice the difference on your own body, your training, and also obviously what the teacher is demonstrating at the time, is the difference between sometimes pivoting and doing then the projection versus turning and then doing the projection, okay? So during the week, I was focusing more on turning, just simply because given the length of the jaw, turning usually is going to put you at a deeper place in the motion Pivoting usually is going to keep you parallel to your partner, if not a little bit ahead. So it's important to, especially when using the jaw, don't rely even more on your upper body, but rely on the integrity of your whole body in order to move the partner. In order to rely on your whole body, the deeper you are in the movement, the better. Okay. So in this case, we're going to use turns, not pivots. Okay. So let's slow it down. Hazukamai to the head, bump, down, turn, up, and project. Hazukamai, head, down, turn, and project. In the middle, shouldn't absorbing back and project. Okay, so Hazukamai, head, down, turn, and project. Hazukamai, head, down, and shouldn't enter, absorb, and enter one. So apart from paying attention to the turning more than the pivoting, the other thing that, especially in our dojo, we pay more attention to is to maximize the use of the body and not rely too much on the use of the weapon. Okay, there were a couple of caveats during training conversation, but as a general principle, okay, rather than going up here and then maximize the weapon through the throw, we maximize the body with the throw. So in order to do that, the weapon is usually grabbed on equal distribution of the weapon. Sometimes if you maximize the use of the weapon, that's basically what you do. You maximize its length because you want to maximize its use. If you want to maximize the body, then you minimize the length of the weapon in order to have more control of it and maximize the use of your own body. So during the week, we're paying attention to maximizing the use of the body by minimizing the length of the weapon. If that kind of makes any sense. Okay, so one more time. So head, turn, minimize the length of the weapon, and use your body. Hazukamai, head, turn, and use your body. Do that, and back, use your body. Okay, it's very important. To the side, head, turn, up, use your body. Hazukamai, head, turn, up, use your body. Middle, back, forward. All right, so the last thing that we were doing in that sense was obviously to have our more or less behavior of the weapon. Now we know that which taisabaki we're doing, turnings, in this case, more than pivotings, or maximizing our use of our body. And this is when our intention has to come in place. That's at the moment is that the intention can be represented with very conscious, powerful breathing coming from your lower abdomen, projecting forward, or as we're doing sometimes in the dojo, as we know with a kiai, and the kiai comes out. Either way, in whatever position you are, now that more or less you know how your weapon behaves, the way that you know that your body behaves, now try to put your intention and make your intention behave in harmony with everything else that is happening, okay? So up here, head, down, ish, down, head, down, middle, in, back, side, inside, forward, head, turn, down, back, head, turn, middle, inside again, head, turn, east, and long, head, turn, east, middle, east. One more time, head, turn, right, head, turn, off, middle, east, off. All right, before we move to the rest of the sequence, the other thing that we explain, especially with John Nage, is that John Nage basically are like Kaeshi Wazas. because there is a way in which eventually Jodori disarms the jaw as we know. But if you are using the jaw to project, means that somehow you began, you began the interaction with an attack, which is what Nage does. Nage does not wait. Remember, Nage attacks the attacks or attacks the attacker. That's one feature of especially Morono Sensei's training, where Nage is not passive, just waiting. Nage is initiating, Nage is leading, Nage is setting up the interaction. Okay, so if you have no weapon, for example, if you practice with Joko Menuchi, yeah, normally the person is going to trade your hand, grab it, and whatever, do Shihonage, for example, which is the most common disarming or technique from that. But in this case, it's going to be Joko Menuchi. We're going to turn, down, and Kokinage. So Joko Menuchi to the head, down, up, Kokinage. Now the one from below is a little bit different because it's not Joko Menuchi, as we normally understand it. It's going to be Shita. So it's going to be a strike that comes from below, that goes toward the head. But it's the same thing. Shita. Your partner is going to try to grab, you're going to turn around, and then you're going to project. Shita. From below, down, up, and project. And then the last one is your basic oiski. Ski, absorb, and enter. On the other hand, ski, absorb, and enter. So even if you don't have weapon at the moment, please consider using your empty hand, which your empty hand basically means Yoko Menuchi here. So let's practice just those three with empty hands so we understand the relationship. So Yoko Menuchi here, turning, up, projecting. The other side again, Yoko Menuchi, turning, up, projecting. Next one, Shita. It's going to be a strike coming from underneath. Shita, turning, down, projecting. Shita, underneath, turning, down, projecting. Last one, oiski, strike, absorb, and enter. Just like oiski, strike, absorb, and enter, which is what happens with our last action with the jaw. Okay? So let's see if we can do those three one after the other. Okay, so Yokomen, boom, turn, project, Shita, turn, project, oiski, absorb, project. Thanks to the other side. Yokomen, turn, project, Shita, turn, project, oiski, absorb, project. This happens with that third motion. Okay, so you are training either with your jaw or with a little stick or empty-handed. Doesn't really matter. No excuses. No excuses. Just find a way. Find a way. Okay. All right. So after but the principle was most of your jaw nage principles can be seen or conceptualized as a kaeshi waza in a way where, you are uke, you begin the motion, and then you transform the motion into a projection. Okay, so that you can conceptualize in that way. So we try to kind of keep going with that basic sequence. So after we did upper level and turning, and then we did lower level and turning and projecting, and we did medium level and absorbing and projecting. Then we were working on irimi waza. So enter, step behind, lower the body, turn, and project. Okay, so let's just practice the irimi form, which is basically like when irimi nage, aihami especially. Okay, here you step, you lower, you raise, and you project. Right? So in basically irimi nage, aihami, you enter, you touch down, you step, you lower, up. So let's just do that with the empty hand first, so we kind of get the basic idea of it. So let's present your hand, step in, turning at the same time, lowering at the same time, turning, up, and push. Right hand, the same hand, step and lower, turn, control the spine, up, and project. Left hand, present, step and lower, turn, up, project, right hand, step and lower, turn, round, up, and project. Okay, so we can do that empty-handed, we can do that with the jaw. Okay, so two hands down, present the jaw, step in, down, up, and project. Change to the other side, step in, down, up, project. Side, enter, step, down, up, project. To the side, enter, step, down, lower your hips, up, and project. Very important. One thing that was a common mistake, people sees the lowering. People sees when I was trying that there is a lower. And then they try to do the lower in the wrong way. They try to do the lower by somehow raising the jaw. Like going here, and then they get here and they go, just try to raise the jaw. You cannot raise the jaw. You can lower your hips. Yeah, you can lower your hips, which lowers everything, and then you enter. But you cannot go here, and then go raising the jaw somehow and taking this down. It's like, well, no. You are trying to go down, which is understandable because that's what you saw. But the way you go down is not by forcing the jaw to go up, it's by lowering your hips. Okay, when you lower your hips, everything goes down. You go down, the jaw goes down, the partner that is attached to your jaw goes down, everything goes down. But you cannot try to bring the jaw down and the partner down while you stay up. That's not fair, as kids will say these days. Okay, so stepping in, lower, up, and enter. So the other side, stepping in, lower, up, enter. Side, step in, lower, up, enter. The side, step in, lower, up, and more. Step in, lower, up, enter. More. Step in, lower, up, enter. All right, so we should be able to insert that motion easily after the three motions that we did before. So you just slowly, take it slowly from hustle, upper level, turn, and project, one kamai, head, down, and project, Chudan kamai, enter, soar, and project, Chudan kamai, step, that turn, down, and project. That's four basic motions with the jaw. Okay? So, Naso kamai, step, turn, project, Wagi kamai, head, turn, project, Chudan kamai, enter, absorb, enter. Here you can change it to the other side just to make it a bit more interesting. Stepping in, turn, down, up, and enter. And now you added Iriminari to the forces of the sequence. Okay, so let's do it again. One on one side, one on the other side. I hustle, head, turn, project. Waki, head, turn, project. Chudan, and absorb, project. Change, step, down, up, project. The other side. Head, turn, up, project. Waki, up, down, up, project. Chudan, enter, absorb, project. Change side, step, down, up, and project. Okay. All right. So let's have one more. Let's see if we can find one more. That's one. Okay. So we should be able to insert in any motion, those three kokinages plus three basic techniques. In this case, iriminage, ikkyo, shikonage. We only have time to do one more. So in this case, we're going to practice the basic idea of ikkyo. Maybe you put your hand down It's very simple. You enter, I hand me, you step in, all hands up, and then you control. Okay, you step in, all hands up, then you control. Here, you go up, stepping in, both hands up, you control, enter, up, down, you control. Now, to make it more correct, technically, remember, try to practice more okuriashi rather than mawaruashi. Okay, so enter, down, and okuriashi. Sideways, yoko okuriashi. Okay, enter, up, yoko okuriashi. Okay, enter, up, yoko okuriashi. Inside, enter, and yoko okuriashi. So remember, okuriashi, yoko okuriashi, basketball, and mawaruashi. Mawaruashi. So try to work with yoko okuriashi. Okay, so you grab your yoke. Okay, you go up, down, yoko okuriashi. To the side, up, stepping in, down, yoko okuriashi. Up, stepping, down, yoko okuriashi. Up, spin, down, yoko okuriashi. Okay, we should be able to insert that at the end. Okay, let's see if we can do then 5 motions. So, okay, head, turn, up, project. Waki kamae, head, turn, up, project. True then, enter, soar, project. Change hand, step, turn and down, up and project. Change hand again, enter, down, yoko. All right, we have 5 motions. Okay, so head, turn, up, project. Waki, head, turn, up, project. True that, enter, absorb, enter, change. Stepping in, turn, down, up, project. Change hand, stepping in, both hands up, down, yoko okuriashi. The last one more time. Okay, one more time. Okay, head, turn, project. Waki, head, turn, project. Chew then, stomach, absorb, project. Chew then, step, turn, down, project. Change, chew then, hands up, lower, slide to the side. And that's the basic practice, at least to be able to be familiar with those 5 motions. With a few others, but we will be running out of time. All right, let's finish up with funakogi, please, with your jaw, so left foot in front, so hands in front, left foot, yeah, good. Ho, 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 Hey, right foot in front, please. Last one. Ish. Sa. 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 ささささ呼吸します。おはい。次、稽古に。はい。はい。
どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.